Hello and welcome to the JfG podcast. This is episode 143, Game of the Year 2017. My name is Alex and I'm joined as ever by my very good friend Ash. Hey buddy, how's it going there?
As always, feeling good on a Wednesday. Sparkling thoughts. Give me the hope to go on.
They do give you the hope to go on.
This evening. Yes.
Indeed, buddy.
And so if anyone didn't listen to the previous show from last week, we are recording this straight after episode 142. Fresh-faced.
It was a short episode with very little going on in it.
It was.
We did our due diligence there, buddies. We don't want to leave you hanging, so we did that show for you. But don't expect too much content there. And if you listen to it, I'm sure you're nodding along with me at this moment in time.
Indeed.
But having said that, buddy, obviously we need to get our Game of the Year show.
But what have you been up to this week, mate? It was Christmas. What did you get?
Nothing that I wanted, I'm sure. There's one thing I can guarantee, buddy. Yeah. It's that I didn't get a 4K TV, PlayStation VR, an Xbox. No. And probably not a load of whiskey, which would probably do me as well.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Drink to forget the other presents that I didn't get, buddy. But
just a quick question: what are you drinking this evening, buddy?
I'm on the old Brewdog there, buddy.
You're still on the Brewdog from last week.
I'm on the Brew, yeah, the Punk IPA there, buddy. What about you, buddy?
Yeah,
mixed it up this week at all? Or?
I mean, at the moment, I'm just finishing off the dregs of my Morrison's Best of IPA, American Pale Ale, sorry. But I have actually got a bottle of Shipyard ready for the next one.
Check him out.
Coming on, staying with the American Pale Ales, but going on with that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, how do we want to introduce this? I can't remember what we did last year.
I think last year was more elaborate. There was probably a bit more going on, and it certainly went on for way too long.
Standard. This week, I think, or this year, not so much. I think
the problem is with us is that obviously we don't have multiple consoles. We're not going to play like you listen to Giant Bomb, and those guys between them have played like 200 games this year.
Yeah.
And we've played like 20 because we're just a couple of dudes and we can only buy so much and play so much and so on. So there's very little point in us doing an exhaustive, definitive Game of the Year, because if you wanted that, you wouldn't be listening to us. You'd be listening to something else.
Indeed.
All we can do is just briefly run through the stuff we've enjoyed this year, where we think it rates against other games, and and that's about it. What we do normally do, and we're certainly not going to break tradition there, buddies, is some sort of little awards ceremony.
Awards.
Yeah, we've got these cheeky awards, buddy, to hand out, and I think that's where we'll get the ball rolling. The JfG Awards 2017.
Oh, elusive. No, that's not the word, is it? Exclusive? No,
exclusive.
It's not
world first.
Yeah, something like that. It's under your chairs.
Anticipation mounts. Here it comes. Here we are.
So what's the first award, buddy? This evening's award.
There's going to be a common theme running through this, but the first award, buddy, is the best single-player game of 2017. The Are You Lonesome Award.
Oh, I love playing games on my own.
Yeah, me too, buddy. Especially at the moment with my witching. Of course, if I could have had The Witcher as Game of the Year 2 years in a row, then...
Fuck it, do it, mate. Why not?
Obviously, I would have done that.
Did they bring out some DLC this year?
They did not, but they did bring out a Game of the Year edition that included
there was
the base
a 4K
game
update
and the DLC.
This year for it. Just use that as an excuse.
No. There was a very worthy winner of this year. There are very few other worthy winners this year. But what you can say for sure is, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as you're concerned as well, buddy.
Indeed.
The best single-player game this year was quite comfortably Horizon Zero Dawn from Guerrilla Games.
Yes.
A fantastic fucking game. Absolutely adored it, like to obsessive levels, like the way I used to play games when I was 12 and had fuck all to do, didn't need a job or anything. and you just sit down and across the course of 2 weeks you play something for 50 hours, and that's exactly what happened here. And you were a little later to the party, weren't you? But you got there in the end and really got stuck in.
Yeah, I managed to chuck in, I think it was a good 45 hours or something into this game in the end of it. And also going back to it a few weeks ago, yeah, definitely cemented this in for my best single-player game this year. I really, really just enjoyed my time in the world, all the different quests and things that were there. The characters, it had it all, really. And being able to immerse yourself in that single-player experience is what this game is all about, You play as a lone character, and you take on the fucking world, mate.
Yeah, and every little bit of that world is beautifully crafted, and the script is beautifully acted. It's just immersion is the word. It's got it all, and especially for something that it is tackling such a weird concept where you're like a cave dweller in a world full of mechanical dinosaurs. Yeah. To give you anything to like cling on to there reality wise is a huge masterstroke, and fucking great single player game.
Yeah, definitely. Cheeky little crafting system and upgrade tree as well to keep you busy.
Absolutely. They probably want to take a little look at that inventory management there.
Well,
but you can't win them all.
Standard in RPGs, really.
We don't have an award for inventory management, but perhaps we should.
Yeah.
But maybe. There we are. So yeah, there's our first award. Best single player game, Horizon Zero Dawn. Clean sweep from the pair of us.
Yeah.
We will move on now to the best multiplayer game. Of course, it was known as the Trump long before he took power.
I know, this is what I was thinking. I was like, can we call it the Trump anymore? I mean,
I don't really know. It might rub people up the wrong way, but it is an acronym, of course. Yeah, it's the truly radical ultimate multiplayer piss fest.
That's the Trump, buddy.
That's yeah, I mean, that's what his surname stands for as well, of course. So, there we go.
Definitely does. He is a massive piss fest. Yeah. This was a bit of a shock that we both decided on this game.
And it's a weird one, isn't it? Because we've gone for Ghost Recon Wildlands. And obviously that isn't a very good game.
No.
But before the year was out pops 4v4 mode, Ghost War.
A free updated version, well, not version, but add-on of a 4v4 Ghost War, yeah.
And becomes a multiplayer mode, but to the base game, and clinches the fucking award out from
really
under.
Does.
I don't know what else, but anything else.
Well, that is another thing, like trying to find another multiplayer game. But you could say that, I mean, like, we've played like countless hours of pairs, like racing games online. Like I've played at least 24 hours of Crucible in Destiny 2. So it's not like we haven't played many multiplayer games, but this just felt like a solid multiplayer. I mean, obviously there were some server issues, but classic Ubisoft to start off with. But when it kind of finally filtered down into what has become Ghost War now, especially with like the updates now, the new ranked mode as well, which is kind of cool. This is a solid 4-player co-op online shooter, and the thing that really set this out for me was the use of the different classes. They've done it before in Rainbow Six Siege, where you have a set role, and you can only use certain guns and things like that. But when you get that team dynamic together, you get your scout, you get your medic, you get your ranger, you get your point man, or you get your tank or whatever. You can start working as a team to either like annihilate the other team or whatever the other game mode is. System Link, I think it is.
Uplink or whatever. Where you got to sort of stand by it, and I mean, it's the fact that this game, as well as being like ultra like cutthroat, like you can die very, very easily. So there's a real sort of element of like fear for your life in this that you're just gonna, but because you're really going to let your teammates down, and if they're your friends that you're playing with, but the fact that it's just one of those games, and Ubisoft have always done them brilliantly. We look back at Vegas 2,
countless times,
where you can get better at it. You can get better at it, and there's something very satisfying, and it's probably a little bit parallels to proper like real world army operations where when things go right, when you make all the right decisions, all you can do in that game is constantly make the correct decisions and then hope that the opposition will fall in your lap or luck is on your side.
Yeah, because I was just going to say there's those magic moments where like it might be like 3-on-1, like you've only got one guy left, but then somehow there's a magical revive and then it's 3-on-2, and then you're like, fuck, right, let's try and get some more revives, and then you end up 4-on-3, and then you're pushing for the win. And that's what I love about this game. Like, even though you're dead, you might not be out. You know, if your teammates are savvy enough and smart enough, right, like trying to bait people out, or, you know, like make sure there's no mines on the bodies and things like that, which I've been caught out far too many times, just running in and trying to revive someone. I just don't think about it. I'm like, fuck, I gotta save him, like Battlefield 1 kind of style, just running with my syringe or whatever. And that's what I like about this multiplayer experience. It can turn it on its head, but it's just that co-opness about it. I don't know. Yeah, I guess co-op. It's a great team
to The Last of Us mechanics. Multiplayer.
Yes, definitely.
But as you said, what it does better is it keeps you alive. You can never be permanently killed, and that makes things just on a knife edge all the time.
All the time.
It's a fantastic mode. We've had loads and loads of fun out of it, and on a game that we were all pretty disappointed with, the base game. And they just keep adding to it. They've got a whole selection of content, like a roadmap laid out for this mode specifically. Player numbers are growing, and it's fantastic, and it really stole the show. It was the first and last thing that sprang to mind for the best multiplayer game of the year.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, there we go. Moving on to the best co-op game of the year, which is the I Want Two of You to Go award. And I could look no further than Wild Pants. It was one of the same, that parallel where, in the past we've had real loads of fun with like Black Ops 3, but then for co-op we've ended up with Pez or whatever. But this year it was a clean sweep for Wild Pants for me, just again based on that Ghost War mode. I know you've got a different one, and we certainly don't want to say any more about Wild Pants. So take it away, buddy. Your choice for best co-op game of the year, Destiny 2.
Yeah, it had to be the game that I've played the most with buddies from my new clan and things. It's just been delightful, and such a good time has had, like playing these games, doing the raids, playing the nightfalls, doing the strikes, doing all the different activities in there. I've always had a blast, either it being because like I'm amazed by the different dynamics within Destiny 2, like all the different mechanics in the raid, having like the 3 layers and things like that. It's just been loads of fun. But then it's quite a relaxing game, because like after a while you just get into the swing of things, like, and you can just chat and have a laugh, and that's why it's my favorite co-op game, because it's got it all there. Like, for what I want out of a co-op experience, like if I want to take it super serious, like I can get everyone involved and we'll do the raid, do the raid with like 6 people really trying hard to push it, or I'm just fucking about doing some strike playlists, or just goofing about doing some flashpoints, doing the public events and stuff, and we're just having a chat about whatever. Kids sometimes, who knows, and how shit they are. But this is like the essence of a co-op game for me. It's just a great experience with your buddies.
It was always going to be for you, wasn't it? With the number of hours that you've put in, and finding like a clan, like a proper clan to play with, and making new friends from a video game is something that I don't think any of us lot have ever really had that. So. Yeah, this was always going to be the one for you. Taking
the plunge. It was, totally worth it in my eyes. Really good.
Nice, buddy. So there's your best co-op game. I went for Wild Pants, and you went for Destiny 2.
Indeed.
Next on our list, buddy, best shooter of the year, the Shooty Bang Bang Award. Clean sweep for Destiny 2 here. I don't know what else I would have given it.
This is what I was thinking. I was like, what other shooters have we played this year? Because we've skipped out on Battlefront and COD. So I was like, I just couldn't think. I mean, I still would have given it to Destiny 2 because the shooting in that game is fucking amazing. But I don't know. I don't know what.
I was racking my brains. I thought Dishonored might sneak in there, but that was 2016, right at the end of the year. We did Battlefront. Obviously, fuck that shit. World War II, no. Like, there's just nothing else going on. And Destiny 2's shooting is fantastic.
The gameplay in Destiny 2 is just, it's fucking. I don't know how they've done it. It's fantastic. Like, and the weapons sound so good still. Their whole like sound design team is just, I don't know, but they need some fucking award for just being so good.
It's exceptionally brilliant to play that game, regardless of what you think about everything else about it.
Yeah,
the moment to moment shooting, jumping, running,
cracking them headshots and things.
It's satisfying as fuck. And it feels great, sounds great, and it's comfortably the best shooter of the year. No problem whatsoever.
Gibbons, buddy. I mean, I haven't got to say anything else about it.
Gibbons. There we are. So there you go. That's your co-op game, your shooter of the year. Big old awards for Destiny there, obviously. Surprise of the year, buddy. Surprise, surprise. The Golden Cilla, of course.
Cilla. Surprise,
God rest her soul.
Yeah.
And what have you gone for here, buddy?
I've gone for Persona 5 this year because this wasn't a game that was not on my radar whatsoever. I knew there was hype about it, and you were like, fucking, we do a gaming podcast. We have to play this JRPG.
I did say that.
Do we have to? I don't feel like, no, I'm not. Oh, all right then, fine. I didn't take much persuading, to be honest, buddy, to buy new games. You know me. It's kind of our thing to just
How else are you going to win the game?
Exactly. I mean, the game of buying games. I love winning that game. So Persona 5 is my surprise of this year because shit, I pumped a good few hours into this game. I think I was on I'm not talking like masses like this game deserves, but I put a good like 25, 30 hours into it, and I was incredibly surprised on how much I enjoyed it, from the whole social aspect of, leveling up like your buddies so they get like better like attacks and things like that, and leveling up their what are they called, souls or something. Man, that's really annoyed me now. I can't remember what they're called. Personas. Fuck me. It's in the name.
It is. It's in the name.
There you go, mate. Classic. To the actual, when you get into the castles or whatever they're called, and you have to like stealth about and sneak attack on things, and then the combat, which is like the turn-based thing, straight out of Pokemon. Love it. I'm in. It was just a big surprise for me that this game kind of got its hooked into me so much.
Yeah, and frustrating from my point of view that I basically forced you into buying that game, and I fell away with it. I fell away from it after about 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah,
and never went back.
It's always the issue, isn't it?
It's
always going back to it, but. I mean, look at The Witcher now, buddy. For you, you've gone back to it, and fuck me.
This is the thing. Like, I played The Witcher just enough to know it was the best game of the year, but not enough to properly get into it. And now, we were having a very lengthy conversation, me and the missus, the other day, about whether it might be the best game we've ever played.
Yeah.
It does everything. So well. It's just a fantastic thing, and with a little bit of luck, maybe Persona could be that for me in the next year. Maybe next year I go back to it. I was enjoying the bit that I was playing, but it just clearly wasn't doing enough, or I wasn't making enough of an effort to stay with it, despite it being very different from what I was used to.
Yeah.
All of the noises that I made before we bought it, saying, gonna get into this, gonna give it a go, and I did give it a go, but it didn't do it for me, and I never went back, and it's been 9 months or something.
Yeah, so, exactly. It's one of them things, but
it joins the graveyard of games that I played, like, because I never play a game for an hour and turn it off. Like, no. I always play anything we've bought.
Last Guardian, maybe
I'll pump 3 hours in, before I toss it asunder. But this one didn't do it. Hopefully it will, because I know it's very good and I know how much you enjoyed it. So. Maybe next year, buddy, but not for me this time round.
Yeah, buddy. So, what's your surprise of this year?
It's Project Cars 2 for me, and it's not that I wasn't expecting to enjoy this game, because of course I was expecting to enjoy it. I love racing games, and the first game we really enjoyed Project Cars. We had a great time with it.
Indeed, we did.
It was a bit rough around the edges, but it was very satisfying to play. What I didn't expect from Project Cars 2 was the leap that it's taken forward by such a distance. This game is exceptionally good. It's comfortably the best racing game on the console, and it's the most incredible thing you can say about it is, from us, if you listen to us and you know how much we play these racing games on game nights, it has destroyed F1. Like, we're not playing F1. Well, I haven't fired up F1
about F1
for like 6 weeks.
No,
because
I don't want to.
They have completely overhauled the handling model on Project Cars 2. They've chucked 5 times the number of cars at it. You've got a huge array of circuits, different configurations. On top of that, you've got, like, I think it's 8 or 9 go-karting circuits with go-karts. You've got at least 15 configurations of rallycross circuits as well, which feels completely different. It really is. It was called Project Cars quite arrogantly the first time they released it. This sort of smorgasbord of, like, open wheelers, go-karts, rallycross, like dirt and road, and the Nürburgring and Formula One tracks and so on. And this time round, it does it. It feels like several different games, and it's not a jack of all trades, master of none. It is the best GT3 racing that I have ever experienced. It's the best rallycross racing. It's better than dirt at rallycross, and it's not a fucking it's not a dirt game, It's a fantastic game, and it surprised me how much better it was than the first one. I actually went back and played the first one a couple of weeks ago, and it was night and day, absolutely night and day. You just can't go back because the handling is just incredible on Project Cars 2.
Yeah.
And the power through the feedback, the career's better, there's so many more options. It's got this whole online community mode as well, where you can invite like up to 30 people in and run tournaments throughout the year at set times in set weather conditions. You can tailor the weather to the time of the year and the race starts, the amount of light and dark. It's brilliant. If you don't mind me spending 20 minutes setting up a lobby every game night, the options on show are just spectacular. And it's something, isn't it, buddy? It really is.
It really is, and this was a close second to Persona 5 of going in this slot for me, because I didn't expect this game to be anywhere near this good, and especially with the variety of driving styles. Like, fuck me, I love rallycross in this game. I'm shit at it, but God, it's exciting.
We're getting better at it, though, aren't we?
We are getting better, yeah. But it is a fantastic racing game, this. I cannot deny that.
It's got everything. It's a beautiful thing. And they've come on leaps and bounds with the controller support as well. That was one of the big gripes of the first game, to the point where this is very playable now on a DualShock. But obviously it's elevated hugely with our wheels.
Indeed, it is much better.
Is something, and without sort of spoiling things going forward, it's just the best racing game of the year, absolutely. And
We haven't got that as a thing, mate. You can't just say that.
I didn't spoil anything. Yeah.
We haven't got Best Racing Game Award. You can't give that away. That's not a thing.
Okay, I take it back. I retract my previous statement there, buddy. Let's move on to this one. And I really like where you've gone with this, by the way. Very special indeed.
We cannot forget.
This is the disappointment of the year, aka the shit waffle of the year. And I'll get mine out of the way very briefly because I haven't got loads to say on it. Mine is Prey, because I was really looking forward to Prey, and then it came out and it had all of these issues with bugs and so on, so we held off. Finally picked it up a few weeks ago in time to try it out and play it through before this show was recorded, and it's just disappointed me on every level. I'm not enjoying it. And there's a myriad of reasons why. And maybe I'll get to the end of it and I'll feel like I've had a good time and I'll be satisfied. Yeah. But from the dodgy launch, from the demo they put out that was fucked, that they just left out, like, on display, interestingly sort of bland and awkward animation, enemies that aren't really fun to kill but are certainly annoying to fight. And a series of different bugs and other issues as well, based on the fact that I was a huge fan of the first game. We both loved it and played it all the way through. Makes this my disappointment of the year, the shit waffle. What about you, buddy?
Well, my disappointment of the year, buddy, would be Ghost Recon Wildlands.
That will happen.
I cannot forget how disappointed I was when we first played that game, to the point where, you turned all audio, all voices off in that game.
I still got that off, so I don't hear any of the little lines in Ghost War,
the one-liners or anything.
Nothing.
It wasn't great. The whole co-op experience in the campaign just... It didn't have me gripped or anything. Like, the upgrade system was mental.
Dumb.
There was the storyline, if you can call it that, was just terrible.
Cringing, like, awful script, terribly acted, just uninteresting, unintelligible dialogue, fucking awful characters.
The vehicles were awful, so bad, to the point that they changed the flying controls, like, after so many months, because they were like, it wasn't working. They did that, didn't they? They changed it completely. The helicopters suddenly controlled like GTA 5, buddy. Fair dues sticking with it and supporting their IP or whatever, but man, was I disappointed with this game when it came out. Because
on paper, it was tempered, our expectations, from the fact that Ubisoft had fucked it so many years in a row. But on paper, this sounded like our dream game.
Mate,
didn't it? Like the open world with your friends,
world co-op, fucking taking down the biz. That's what we're all about. But just no. No. I mean, to be honest, I think I'd like to have another go at, like, the campaign at some point to see where it is now or what's going on now. I mean, we had a stage where we kind of picked it up again and it was rolling. We were like, okay, we're going with this again, and then it died off again because I think loads of racing games came out or something like that. I don't know.
I think you might be right about that.
Or Destiny came out. I don't know. One of the two. Or both. So yeah, it was just such a disappointment, this game, for me, which is a shame, even though it got best multiplayer. But that's got to be a first. I mean, I'm just telling the truth, mate. I can't.
It's true. You're absolutely right. It's very rare.
The multiplayer in that game is fantastic, and I love it. I want to play it right now, to be honest. But that just. No.
The main mode in the main game is
when it
bad.
Came out, for the first 6 months of that game being out, just no, bad.
Yeah, given. There you go. That's probably the first and probably the last time we'll have a game that wins a best award and a worst award. It's pretty special, but there we are. And absolutely justified and warranted. Yeah. Fair play to you, buddy.
Yeah, mate.
Right. Next award, the most innovative game, the My Brain Hurts award. We've kind of taken different tags here, but then I suppose we haven't really because... yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, it's changed everything. So, you gone for PUBG?
I've gone, even though I haven't played it, this game has changed online multiplayer shooters. You know, it's been a massive storm, obviously, this year. Just introducing that game mode. I feel like that is innovative gaming.
It is, and you can tell that it is by the fact that everyone's clamouring to chuck that mode in their games, you know?
Exactly.
Everyone's trying to copycat straight away. Is it weird that this game mode's never really been a commercial success before? Is it weird that no one's ever done this, considering how old that movie is and what an obvious
I just don't know. I don't know, buddy, why this one's just picked it. Like, it just fucking went mental, really, didn't it?
It's the biggest game on Earth. It has been for most of the year.
Yeah. And I don't know because I haven't played it. Unfortunately. Because, I could try and play it on PC, but, like we said about Wildlands, we like to team up and tear down the biz. And
you can't do that on PC when you're playing it on your own.
Indeed.
No, it'll be very, very interesting to look back on this next year. At which point I would imagine this game will be out on PlayStation and we probably will have
more
it.
Than likely. Yeah.
So it'd be very interesting to see whether it features in our top 10 list next year.
Yeah, that's true because obviously, it'll be eligible for us.
Yeah, and we're hoping that all of the teething problems they're having with the Xbox, they'll iron all that out before they port it to the PlayStation.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I'm sure it'll get there. So yeah, PUBG for you. For me, it is Pyre.
Oh, good choice.
Is a fantastic game. Again, a game that I think I'm sort of 6 or 7 hours into a sort of 10-hour campaign there.
Yeah.
But it's obviously got this multiplayer mode, and that's one of the main reasons why I'm throwing it in the ring, really. Because they essentially have invented a sport.
Yeah, I know, right? And that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, oh, what can I put in it? And Pyre was out of the list of games that we played, Pyre was going to be the one that I was going to put in there. Just because, like you say, they invented a new sport, in a way.
Yeah, they've really gone for it. And also how different it is to their previous games.
Yeah.
It's incredibly cool, but the whole thing really, like the way that it starts off, the character that you play and the way that the other characters speak to you, the script's very interesting, and a lot of it's kind of like a comic book, but then you've got these set pieces with your characters, and you've got skill trees and like a sort of 3v3 basketball situation. It's all beautifully done, and incredibly innovative. It's
I like that after every game you have a choice of like what you want to develop as well. Say like you want to train as a team, or you want to just focus on an individual to make their stats better, giving you those extra options on how you want to progress your team coming up for the next match and things like that. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I really need to look into whether there's I obviously I follow NoClip and follow those documentaries. I'd love to know more about the development arc for Pyre, like how this happened.
Yeah,
I'd love to just sit down with them for an hour and just be like, how did you get here? Like, exactly. It's just such a strange thing.
Yeah,
but it's a fantastic game. You can pick it up for peanuts at this point, buddies, and I would highly recommend that you do so. It's a great time and really fun to pick up, and also ticks boxes in various different genres. So yeah, it's
just remember very cool. There's a lot of reading, which is the main reason I struggled with that game.
There's a hell of a lot of dialogue. When you're not playing the sort of sporty kind of mode, then you are just reading dialogue and picking options.
And that slowed me down a lot.
It is a little slow going, but very, very good game. Very cool. Next award, buddy, the prettiest game, the Look at the Shiny Shiny Award. and there was only ever going to be one winner here. I think that's safe to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was always going to be Horizon Zero Dawn. That game is thoroughly beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous.
I just don't know how it looks that good on this console and just keeps that frame rate.
It's amazing, isn't it? Just like hitting that.
Absolutely incredible.
It's a beautiful game. And I have to say, of all these hours that I've ploughed into The Witcher, and I know that is, I suppose, a bigger game, although the way that the game loads between areas suggests to me that it's probably not taxing the system any harder. The art style is massively different between those two games, but Horizon is beautiful and colourful and gorgeous, and it never falls over the way The Witcher does. When you enter a city on The Witcher, you will get frame drops, you will get huge amounts of tearing. Never on Horizon. All this foliage and fauna that it renders.
Yeah.
And the way that they've designed and implemented all of the robots, the sort of sense of scale of that game, it's just insane. And it's absolutely gorgeous. And you played this in 4K on a Pro this year, didn't you? So
yeah, God, that
remind us of that one, buddy, because I really enjoyed hearing about that.
Just Jesus Christ. I was just like, what is this?
And was it overall sort of definition on the screen, or just
I was just like, this is just gorgeous. It was just like the colours and everything just sharp as fuck. Just wow.
It's built for HDR, that game, isn't it?
Yeah,
in terms
definitely.
of the colour palette and the lighting engine.
It's just so well done. And I've seen quite a lot of because they added the camera mode thing or photo mode into that game, I believe. Yeah. And on Reddit, there's always people posting pictures and gifs of that game. And one thing, the environment, when some of the dinosaurs are smashing into trees and stuff like that, seeing the trees hit other trees and things like that, it just looks so natural the way it was doing it. And one of the other things was with the new expansion with all the snow, there's some gifs of Aloy rolling around in the snow, and the compression and stuff, the indents in the snow just look absolutely amazing. I was just like, that shouldn't be in a game that is running on a PS4. That just looks absolutely ridiculous. I couldn't imagine what that game would look like on a 1080 Ti or something.
That's the thing, isn't it? And I mean, you look at the obviously we've seen a fair bit of gameplay from God of War. And I think that art style wise, in terms of the sort of colour palette and that, I think they've taken a leaf out of their book there. But I still haven't seen anything look as beautiful as Horizon. And that goes for PC games. I was saying it at the time. The art style, the way that that's implemented, carries it so far to the point where I'm not sure that there's any PC games that look nicer than Horizon Zero Dawn, even though it's obviously on budget basement fucking hardware by PC standards, especially at this time of the year.
Yes.
It's absolutely gorgeous. It's the best looking game on the console. And so far nothing's come out to top it either. Next year's going to be very interesting. And I'm sure, just as a final point, buddy, we will pick that DLC up once it drops a little bit down, and maybe it'll go down in the winter sales coming up.
Possibly. Something I'm definitely keeping an eye on, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to that one. Moving on, we'll be brief here as well because, as I said, there's a theme, buddies. The best story of 2017, the Agatha Christie Award. Clean sweep for Horizon once again. What can you say, man?
Fucking robot dinosaurs, mate. What more do you fucking want?
It's just such a good script, though, and it's so superbly acted. And as I said, in this world where nothing should make any sense, is utterly ludicrous, but the sort of gravitas that you've got with the sort of father figure and the grands that are sort of hate you or looking after you, all the side quests are expertly acted and written.
Yeah, there was a lot of lore in that game, which I liked a lot. There was history within the game. You were learning about previous, or how the machines came to power and things like that whilst playing the game, and that just cemented this for my favourite story or best story for this year.
Yeah, and total night and day from something like Tomb Raider as well in the past. There was fuck all exposition in Horizon. It's all really nicely put together in a way that makes sense and in a way that is kind of tugging you along rather than just spelling it out saying, oh, blah, 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 and you don't learn Russian off of a fucking stone or something either. It makes sense. And the character arc of Aloy coming from this, I've no idea about technology, I don't understand anything, to a situation where she's like an almighty, all-powerful kind of being who has a real sort of run of the world and understands everything, was entirely like believable and gradual and interesting and kind of awe-inspiring as well. So yeah, best characters, best script, best acting, best story. Bit of a theme. Pretty special. Next, buddy, as we wind down to the end here, we've got the game you wish that you'd played in 2017, the Not Enough Hours in the Day award. What are you going for here, B?
Gone for Pugba, buddy. Just wish I'd played that game this year.
Yeah, and you could have played it on PC, couldn't you? But as you said before,
but it says in the title, wish there was more hours in the day. I mean, I could have just not played Destiny, but I mean, why would I do that?
Yeah, you made your choice there, and that's fair enough. For me, Assassin's Creed, because I know that there's some loot box controversy there, but obviously I wouldn't be buying into any of that bullshit, buddies. I'd just play the game, and I've heard it's a very good game. I've heard it's the best Assassin's Creed possibly ever, mainly because it's not like Assassin's Creed, which really does sound good from my standpoint as someone who's never been a fan of Assassin's Creed games. Black Flag was the one that I really enjoyed, but this one looks great. I really like the look of it. Wasn't willing to part with the cash full price, and with the Witcher resurgence, I probably wouldn't have got to it anyway. But I do wish that I'd played it this year, because I reckon it would have snuck onto my list had I done that, and I'm certain we will pick that up when it drops into the sales next year.
I think so. I always have that feeling that I should play Assassin's Creed games. I don't know why. So I should just play one, because it's part of my gaming history over the past 10 years or so, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, Assassin's Creed fatigue kicked in big time. And Black Flag, like you said, big boost, and then, oh mate, loads of issues. But yeah, this one does look like it's worth a punt at some point.
People saying the reason it's so good is because it's not like the others.
I mean, that sounds good to me.
They've taken that year off and spent it well by the looks of things. Something that you couldn't possibly say about Need for Speed. But there we are. Twice. Yeah, twice. So there you go. That's the one that we wish we'd played.
Indeed.
And finally, well, I say finally, we've got a little extra at the end, but yeah, most anticipated game of 2018, the game you want but will probably be shit in 2018 award. We got a collection here. I can certainly pick a number one, but let's just go through our little list first, buddy.
My main one that I'm worried about next year is Red Dead 2.
That's the big one, isn't it? And
that is gonna be just, I don't know. I have a feeling that Rockstar are gonna fucking milk that Red Dead teat a little bit too much.
You're worried about the way, I mean, because the new heists that have come out on GTA 5, like the sort of currency requirements,
man,
to even
seriously,
play it.
What the fuck?
They are essentially completely paywalling that.
Yeah, of course they are.
The amount that you'd have to play it to have...
But they've never put any paid-for DLC out. I mean, does that counterbalance it? Everything's been free?
I suppose.
It's one of them tricky situations, isn't it? Because, you know, they're not selling you a season pass or anything, but they're giving you fucking loads of content. I mean, if you bought, like, 30 quid's worth of money a year, or whatever, season passes. I mean, would that be enough for you to enjoy that game that much more, I guess?
I would imagine so. And would you prefer to have the option to pick and choose the content you want to spend your money on rather than buying a season pass where you're going to get some fucking turds? You're going to get some stuff you're not interested in coming out over the course of that season pass. So it's an interesting one.
It's very interesting, but I'm very worried about this game. Single player is going to be fucking amazing, no question, but it's that online aspect where, they're going to milk it out, and then the question is, are we going to have to wait like another... How many years has it been now? Like 4, 5 years until they release another game? Like, I'm talking about GTA 6, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's going to be like a 10-year gap between GTA 5 and 6.
It could
I know
well
they've
be.
released that on multiple platforms over the so many years or whatever, but still, I don't know.
Don't know, mate. Tricky one.
That's why I'm a little bit worried about Red Dead.
Fair play, buddy. You've also got God of War down here.
Yeah, I just don't know. I'm very much looking forward to playing that. From what I've seen, it looks fucking awesome. But then again, it could be absolute ball bags.
It's going to be a bit difficult for us, I think, because it's sort of a hack and slasher we're not really used to. Mm-hmm. It's been dressed up as a sort of more thoughtful kind of Tomb Raider stroke Last of Us type sort of style. But those games have always been a hack and slash game.
Yeah, exactly.
So that'll be interesting. You've also got Far Cry 5 down there, buddy.
Yeah, don't know about that game. I mean, they've delayed it so many times, and now obviously they're squeezing it into the end of the fiscal year. So is this going to be classic Ubisoft where it comes out completely broken and then they fix it over the next couple of years to make it better? Who knows?
It's their new thing.
It's what they do. I mean,
it's what they do.
We got to praise them for supporting their games, but why don't they make the game good when it comes out? Just an idea.
That would be helpful.
Who would have thought it? Release a game that's good.
That would be nice.
On release.
Yeah. Fair point. This
is my other real big one that I'm worried about because obviously EA are a bunch of cunts, mate.
Indeed. And the only thing that you can really say that may stop this from being an overwhelming shit show is that it's BioWare.
I know.
Proper mainline BioWare. And therefore, do they have a bit more clout?
I don't know. Probably not. But the game Anthem, mate. Looter shooter. Fucking looks well cool. Flying about in your little space boots and stuff.
Yeah.
Co-op experience. Sign me up.
It does look nice. Unfortunately, they did advertise it with one of those terribly voiced, pretend voice chat trailers at E3.
Chat. That's how, I'm going to get my new headset. Well, to be honest, definitely by now. Not probably. I know it's sitting behind me on the table. I mean, we're recording this pre-Christmas, but, it got delivered today. I know I've got my new headset. Probably wearing it next time I do a podcast.
You can brush up on your West Coast accent, buddy.
Exactly, and that's what I'll be doing. I'll be talking like that with me mic, and when I press the mute button on the mic, a little red light appears on the microphone.
There you go.
So I know that I'm muted.
Yeah.
But just worrying, mate, innit? Really, microtransaction central next year. Hopefully not, but who knows?
I mean, single player's the way forward, I think.
Yeah,
because they can't fuck you that way.
Wow, you say that. But what was the game? Shadow of War.
Shadow of War.
That's true. Good go, buddy.
Yeah, they had a go.
Yeah,
that's
mate.
Kind of what started all this, isn't it? The controversy. I mean, this year.
Yeah, a little bit. Star Wars really hit it home though.
Gibbons. The other one you've got is Far Cry 5.
We've done Far Cry 5.
Oh, my bad. I read backwards for some reason.
You tried going backwards in time. We can talk about it. I mean, it's Ubisoft again. I mean, how about trying to release a game that's not broken?
Hang on, I'm getting a sense of deja vu there, buddy. One second.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one as well.
Gibbons, buddy, you've got a couple that we haven't spoken about, though. What's your first one on your list?
My number one and my most anticipated game. Not of 2018, not of any specific time, just ever, is Cyberpunk 2077, which is the next game from CD Projekt Red.
Yes.
Think The Witcher meets Blade Runner.
That sounds cool.
I just don't know why you'd ever need anything else in your life. There you go. Fill your boots.
Has it got a loot system?
It will have everything that you could possibly ask for.
Is it going to be co-op?
I don't know.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they would at least talking about the prospect of having some sort of multiplayer. But I don't know exactly what that would be. And I wouldn't care if it didn't, because the world that they've built in The Witcher, I just want more of whatever they do. I just want more. I haven't really felt like that about any developer since probably Valve in the 90s, Half-Life 2. This is the only one that matters to me. If all other games were cancelled next year, provided this one was released, I wouldn't give a fuck.
Nice.
So there you go.
I like it.
Red Dead, of course. I really fancy the look of that. Anthem, although the same apprehensions that you do, and then the other big one, The Last of Us 2. And if you look at that list of 4 games there, that looks pretty fucking tasty as years ago.
That's a good year of games. I'll be happy with those 4.
Indeed. Certainly already looking stronger than this year's offering.
Oh, don't.
I think it's safe to say.
I've just got a little reminder of last year's most anticipated games. So the games that came out this year. For me, it was South Park: The Fractured Butthole. Obviously, that was a fucking shit show, and we never bought that game because they're a bunch of cunts. Destiny 2 actually came out. I think that's been in the past 2 Game of the Years. But yeah, it finally came out, and it didn't disappoint me anyway. And I had Red Dead Redemption 2 in there as well, and that game didn't come out.
No, but we did. I do remember us saying we didn't think it would come out as well.
That's true.
But yeah, I had that as well, and I had The Last of Us 2 as well. So I'm not sure that was even confirmed as a release.
I can't remember, to be honest.
I don't think it was.
No, maybe not.
But you suspected they were going to make it anyway. But yeah. So it's really The Witcher has changed everything for me this year, and now I'm just on the Project Red bandwagon. There we are.
Nice.
You've also had a little caveat at the bottom here, buddy. I quite like.
Yeah.
This is Ash's new section for the 2017 Game of the Year show, which is games we didn't play because fuck those guys.
Yeah.
Do you want to read these off, buddy?
Yeah, go on then. Obviously, like I just said, South Park: The Fractured Butthole. Fuck those guys. Call of Duty World War 2. Fuck those guys. Star Wars Battlefront 2. Fuck those guys.
Fuck those guys.
Assassin's Creed Origins. Fuck those guys.
Yeah, fuck those guys. Yeah.
Need for Speed Payback. Fuck those guys. Player Unknown's Battleground. Fuck those guys. And finally, any Nintendo games. Fuck those guys.
I actually played Star Fox 2 this year, so just saying, pound sign.
I mean, might be in your top 10 then. We haven't done our top 10s yet, mate.
We haven't got there yet.
We haven't got there yet. Well, there you go. That's true. Well, there you go. There's some games that we couldn't give a fuck about.
Yeah, there's the awards there then, buddies.
For multiple reasons as well.
Gibbons, there's the awards. I think that was fair. I think what you can kind of garner from all of that is that it has felt a little bit like slim pickings this year, at least where new IPs are concerned. It looked very promising last year when all of these announcements of new IPs at E3 and at the games show, and a lot of them were delayed, a lot of stuff was pushed, and as such, it's not been a great year for standout new IPs, really interesting console exclusives. It's been a very good year for solid crafting, solid like craft of video games, lots of franchises that didn't disappoint this year. But in terms of innovation and excitement, I don't think it's been the best, really. Would you agree with that, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a little bit of a discussion about this at the end, but yeah,
we bring that forward now, and then we'll end on our lists.
Yeah,
I think.
Okay, cool.
We had a bit of a discussion So firstly, I'll just very quickly reel off Funk and PJ's Game of the Year lists because they're very, very short for the same sort of reasons we've been discussing. Funk kicks in. He's got a top 4. Tried to sneak a 2016 game in. I'm not having that.
We're not having it, mate. No, you can't do that.
His number
and it wasn't
one
even
was
late 2016. It was like
March, like February, March 2016. Yeah, no chance, mate.
Classic.
His number 1 was Ghost Recon Wild Pants. Number 2 was Pez because of the leagues, co-op leagues. Yeah, number 3, Project Cars 2, and number 4, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Nice.
PJ, meanwhile, has a top 3 of Ghost Wars, Pez, and F1, which amazingly and probably likely being basically the only 3 games PJ has played this year anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
He's found it tricky getting on a regular basis. Although he's had a good run in December, hasn't he, buddy? Like,
yeah, he's ploughing those hours into Ghost Wars, mate. He loves it.
Yeah.
Play a game of the year.
So PJ says, that's been it for me. I would have been interested in stuff like Horizon, but I have no time to play that stuff, so it is out. Otherwise, not sure it has been a strong year for new games. Fortnite could have been great, but wasn't. Bit of a disappointment, really. Funk chips in. Seems like Horizon was the only thing up to snuff. Everything else is just DLC. We have a nice little stable of games for game night, and that's the main thing for me. If we didn't have wheels, it would have been ball bag. PJ kicks in. Same. That's how I maximise enjoyment during my limited game time. Wheel makes a massive difference, and I enjoyed F1 on Trolls before I knew better. And Funk says, I like Horizon, but it's not drawing me in like The Witcher. Not sure why. So there we are.
Yeah, buddy. And just off of that, like when he was trying to sneak in his 2016, that's where he came up with the comment of the DLC. And what he said...
like all franchises, annual franchises are essentially fucking DLC anyway, is what he was saying. Like, just because they sell it to you on a disc.
Yeah, exactly. I came back with a comment of, to be honest, I think you've got a great point there about the releases of this year. Just generally poor. There's not a lot going.
Just not very exciting.
No, lots of franchises going over again and again, and like you said, everything's just DLC in a way.
I think we made some mistakes this year, mainly in not picking up enough smaller games, because there have been lots and lots of very interesting indie titles this year that we have not picked up and we have not got around to. Obviously, we've got limited funds, and if the chance of playing like a game that we're going to play with our friends on a weekly basis versus taking a punt on something for 15 quid, exactly. It's always going to struggle there. But I think
enjoyment comes first.
Yeah, we may well have dug up some gems, and it may well have been a little bit of an easier process. But we're not a publication. We haven't got a budget for these things. We're just a couple of guys, and we buy what we can buy.
I've got a couple of little games in my top 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
That surprised me this year, to be honest.
We got a decent spread.
Yeah. So I guess we jump into our top 10 lists, our game of the years.
Yes, buddy, absolutely. We're going to round things off here with our top 10 lists. Obviously, we've spoken in varied levels of detail about the games on these lists, so we'll only really sort of go back into heavy detail on stuff if we haven't spoken about it already in the awards. But let's go for it, man. The Game of the Year 2017. Let's have your list, buddy, starting with number 10.
Number 10 is the Turing Test, which is a Portal ripoff.
Yeah, but competent and quite fun and quite interesting.
Nice
as well.
Little storyline, very clever puzzles once again. Some were easy, some were hard. It is what it is, sometimes it just clicks, but I just really enjoyed my time with this game. I love I love puzzle games. I love, like last year's The Witness kind of thing. I love drawing lines.
Yeah.
But no, I love a good puzzle game. And this was a decent, solid little, I think we got it for like 10 quid or something, not even that in a sale.
I think, it was even cheaper than that, I think.
Yeah, it's fantastic little pick-me-up, got me through like a couple of nights of gaming. Really enjoyed my way through it.
Yeah, absolutely. I fell away from that, unfortunately, but not before I'd got like 85% of the way through. I didn't get on with it once they introduced the little roving robots. But, that was more a sort of personal taste thing. It's not like they did it badly. I just kind of fell away at that point.
Gibbons. Number 9, I've got the Sexy Brutale, buddy. This was a very nice art style, like cartoony kind of top-down isometric game. You are in a mansion and the clock resets every day, and it's kind of like a trial and error puzzle game. Really enjoyed it. Good little characters, just interesting story, and some really good puzzles to solve. It was just a good place to explore and find out what the fuck was going on in this mansion. And I was going to actually spoil the ending then, but so I won't do that.
No, don't do that. I think what I will say is it's quite funny that you've spent the last 3 or 4 months absolutely hooked over 250 hours into a specific game, and then it comes to our lists looking back over the course of the year, and the number of times where we've took a punt on something and you've been the one who's invested heavily in it.
Yeah, it's weird,
it's quite telling versus my list, I will say that.
Number 8, buddy, PES 2018. Massive improvements with the fucking co-op leagues this year. Holy shit.
Gibbons.
Well done. PES 2018, mate. I mean, there's not much to say about it for me.
I'll chip in a little bit on my one, but it's an annual franchise, isn't it?
Yeah. Number 7, buddy. Free-to-play game of the year. Patent pending with that title. Orcs Must Die Unchained, buddy. It's definitely getting a fucking place in my top 10 because that game had me hooked for a good couple of months.
It was great. I was so disappointed with the way it ended for us. We got to the point where either we need to get really good at this game with what we've got or chuck a ton of money at it. No. I felt like that wasn't the case. I felt like it was only option B.
It was more of B. But, I feel like if we, looked at some strats on how to do certain things or whatever, how to, really maximize our use of traps and things like that, then I feel like we could have got a bit further in that game. But still, really enjoyed my time with that game. Surprised the hell out of me.
It was
enough
fun
for us to chuck £8 at it each.
Yeah, it's true. It was enough for us to spend our first ever proper microtransactions on a console game.
Definitely.
Yeah, fair point, buddy.
Cracking game. Number 6, I've got Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. This was a nice little add-on, but once again, I love Uncharted games. Big fan. There was no, they didn't slack off with this game. They pushed it further into areas not really unknown, but they brought out the open area a bit more. The old kind of go and find some coins and things like that. That was a nice little addition. But overall, just that game in general is just loads of fun with the stealth mechanics, but then also not so much the action scenes. I mean, we've spoke about it in the past. They're not my favourite sections, but just overall, a highly polished game and very enjoyable.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, buddy, with everything you said there, frankly. Spot on.
Number 5, Wild Pants. It gets my mid-range because it was disappointing, yet also amazing. So bang in the middle of 5.
Best award and worst award, bang on.
Indeed. And then we've got number 4 is Persona 5 for all the reasons I've already spoken about. Then number 3, we've got Project Cars 2, which was when we decided to go through the stage of buying 3 racing games in such a short amount of time. I was like, I'm not sure about this, but fuck me, Project Cars has really pushed itself forwards in the past month or so on me. We've really put the hours in on that on a game night, and it's totally changed my views on that game. It's fucking amazing. Best racing game I've ever played. Hands down.
it's a masterpiece. And I think it's going to take on a whole new angle when in the new year, once that thing hits a real nice price. I think PJ and a couple of other friends will jump in as well.
They have to,
you
mate.
start getting a bit of a grid together on that game, and things are going to get even more amazing.
It's going to rally cross with like 5 people.
Yeah,
mental.
It's going to be special.
That's just silly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, buddy, we've come to the 1-2 position. This was a fucking tough one for me.
I'm sure. I'm sure it was.
Obviously, there's one game that I've played way too much, and I love that game so much. So, in second place is Destiny 2.
Ooh!
I know, right? It didn't get there because Bungie and Activision are just a bunch of cunts, mate. This game is fucking brilliant. I love this game. I could spend I already have fucking spent 10 days playing this game. And I want to spend another 10 days playing this game. For some reason, I just really enjoy it. I've got a great community of guys now that I like. I talk to them on a daily basis on Discord. I have a good laugh with them. We're doing all the raids, doing the nightfalls, doing every day. Like every time I log on, there's someone to play with. It's fucking awesome. I think without that kind of support group, I would nowhere near have got that far in this game. Also, those guys got me through 2 of the raids from Destiny 1. I mean, how fucking awesome. Well, for me, that's fucking awesome.
That's dedication, isn't it? That's really nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool.
Really, really cool. The game itself, I mean, I've spoken about this game way too much on this podcast, but I feel like it deserves it. The gameplay, the audio, the visual, everything about it. Even the story is not great, but the lore behind it, obviously I'm into this game, so I've looked into all the lore behind it, and it is fucking thick with all these different various characters, but that's why it's at number 2. All that shit should be in the game. There shouldn't be stuff behind a paywall. Fucking clown shoes.
Yeah, Gibbon.
Anyway,
preach.
So, there's only one spot left, buddy, and that is Horizon Zero Dawn for me this year. It was the best game of this year. Simply, it was a fresh new IP from the guys from Guerrilla Games, the guys that have made Killzone. I mean, they're known for making these first-person shooters set in like the future or wherever it is. I never finished one of them because they weren't that great. Fuck me.
If someone gave you if someone had said to you at the start of the year, with no knowledge of upcoming releases, one brand new game, a new IP this year is going to be a shining beacon. It's going to end up being your game of the year. Here is a list of 20 different developers. Guerrilla Games is on there. What are the odds that you would have picked Guerrilla? Yeah,
I know, and that's the thing. And that's why I think fucking hats off to them. You deserve this because out of nowhere, you've never made this type of game, and they've absolutely fucking smashed it, mate. They've made the word for trying to attack someone, the fighting mechanics. There you go. They're fantastic. You can stealth it, you can go balls deep, you can set mines, you got all kinds of things. You can disable, you can unattach weapons from the enemies and use them against them. There's a hell of a lot in this game, and then we've spoken about the visuals, the story already, but there's so much more to that game, and that is why it is my number 1, buddy.
Gibbons, can't argue, and I'll have more to say about it as well, buddy. But
Gibbons, buddy, obviously.
Luckily
I went first, so I got to say all the really good points. So now
it's
you're
fair. It's fair play.
But yeah, fucking Uncharted, mate. Game of the year for me, 2017.
Uncharted
Horizon, the other one. That PlayStation exclusive, whatever.
That's the one.
Yeah, something like that, innit?
It's a cool list. It's got some real diversity to it. You've got a sports game, a racing game, a shooter,
JRPG,
a third person, a JRPG, a tactical game, a free-to-play game, a isometric puzzle game, a first-person portal-less game. Genuinely, none of the games on your list are similar to each other. It's a real decent spread. Very cool, and ballsy as well, picking Horizon over Destiny despite the hours that you've put in.
I just feel like it had to be done, buddy.
Yeah, I really respect that. Fair play to you, buddy, and cool list.
Thanks, buddy. So, hit me with your top 10. Are you going to start at number 10, I'm guessing, not number 1?
I'm going to start number 10 to raise suspense there, buddy. Number 10 for me is Orcs Must Die Unchained. And as I said to you, we pumped like 35, 40 hours in and had a fucking ball, but then we hit that paywall. And the problem that I had was that it didn't feel like you could keep playing without spending money. It didn't feel like that to me. I thought we proved by basically like getting like gold medals on every level that we had the appropriate skills that we should have been able to continue progression, but it put us in a situation where I feel we would have had to have spent £25-35 on currency to rank up our cards to the level that we were able to continue playing, and for that it lost all of the good grace.
A lot of places.
But you can't argue with the fact that Orcs Must Die as a tower defense game, as a concept, is awesome. It's got great lore, it's got great traps, it's incredibly satisfying and fantastic co-op.
Great co-op as well.
And for all those reasons, it sneaks onto my list in number 10, and I suspect it wouldn't have made it on there in another year, but here we are.
I know.
There you go. At number 9 for me, buddy, is Destiny 2.
Oh, it's a low one.
It's a low one, but it's on there. You know what I think about this game. I think that the shooting and the mechanics and all of that are fantastic, but my disappointment of Destiny 2 started with the 30 frames and ended with what I perceived to be a very weak story and not enough repeatable content for me to stay interested. Perhaps if I jumped in with you from the start with your dads and made some friends on there so that it became almost like going to play snooker rather than playing a video game, then things would have been very different for me.
You've just made it sound so, No, thanks.
It's true though, isn't it? Like it's like it's a
social thing,
a pastime rather than a game that has to like fucking exponentially engage you all the time.
Totally.
You got there with it in that fashion. It didn't do the same thing for me, to the point where I almost kind of resent it for it. It wants to be a game that I want to put 200 hours into, and I absolutely don't.
Got it.
So I can't speak to your experiences. What I can say from my perspective is it gave me a good 30 hours enjoyment, and then I fucked off. And from a shooting a gun perspective, nothing does it better than this game. And for those reasons, it makes it onto my list in at number 9.
Nice.
Number 8 for me, buddy, Gran Turismo Sport, which I was surprised I didn't have this higher, because I've actually had masses of enjoyment out of this game. I've played it loads and had a really good time doing so. The problem that I have is there's a game out this year, buddy. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Project Cars 2. And it's rather fucking good, that game. Now, if that hadn't come out this year and this was our only offering outside of the F1 game, I suspect it may have placed a little higher. But it did a very good job of being an engaging, compelling game. It didn't do such a good job of feeling like driving a car. And that is quite integral when
driving a car.
When playing a game whose tagline is literally the real driving simulator.
It's the real driving simulator.
Yeah, it's the real one. Yeah. It's an issue. It's an issue for me. What I will say about it is F1 does not feature on my list this year. And GT Sport is the reason why it's not on there, because I thought it was interesting and fresh and different. That coupled with a very clever multiplayer system that tries its damnedest to be fair and actually give you engaging racing, has literally wiped F1 off, despite the fact that is a great game, that F1 game. It does not sneak onto my list, and GT Sport's in there at number 8.
Nice.
Next, number 7 for me, another game that I played the absolute balls off of, MLB The Show 17, buddy. We picked this up on a whim. I say I picked this up on a whim. It was heavily reduced. It was like 20 quid, I think, even only like 6-8 weeks after it had come out.
Yeah.
And I proceeded to pump like 45 hours into the like be a pro mode on this game.
Yeah.
It is absolutely brilliant. Obviously, once again, riddled with microtransactions in the other modes and a shit show online, but as a single player baseball experience, I had a fucking ball here. I loved it, and I haven't gone back to it for a little while, basically since PES came out, because of the co-op elements of that kind of taking things over. But it's a brilliant game. I love it, and it absolutely deserves to be on my list. Just through hours played alone.
I totally forgot that you played so many hours of this
Seriously, 3 seasons. Bearing in mind how many games they play in baseball.
Yeah.
Like hundreds of games, and I played through 3 whole seasons, no simming.
Yeah, because you were playing that, and I was playing NHL. 16.
That's right.
It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So really cool. I made it on there because of it. Nice. Next for me, number 6, Ghost Recon Wildlands, which has obviously Ghost War's been fantastic, but once again, I cannot excuse the fact that the game I wanted is wank. The game that I didn't want is really good, and I'm enjoying playing that, but the game I wanted is wank. So there we are. That's why it's at number 6. Ghost War, if Ghost War had come out solo for 20 quid, could have been topping our fucking lists this year, frankly.
Possibly.
But counterweighted with the disappointment. It's a middling result, similar to yours, buddy. Next one for me, number 5, Uncharted Lost Legacy. I think I said at the time, it was really cool, but having launched it as a standalone thing rather than a piece of like official add-on DLC for the game, I was hoping for a little bit more in terms of interest, diversity, substance, as you say. And that's quite funny that they worked harder on it than they were expecting and put it out as a standalone, and I'm punishing it for that. But it still makes it onto my list at number 5. I really enjoyed playing through it. I think you basically said everything I wanted to about that, so I won't dwell, and I'll move on to my number 4, buddy. And that would be Wipeout, the Omega Collection, which we played loads of. It's got split screen, so me and the missus played the balls off that as well. I've never owned a Wipeout game. I really enjoyed having an arcade racer, despite the fact that it was a bit of a strange one and, not really a conventional arcade racer. But graphically immense, like bags of content.
And the frame rate on that.
Oh, it's just gorgeous.
Stupid.
Gorgeous frames. Like, it flows beautifully, and I started getting really good at it in the end with using like the bumpers to turn the bends and so on. Knowing when to lift.
That.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We changed the whole control system because their one was stupid.
We changed the control system because it was baffling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number 4. A remaster makes it into my top 5, buddy. There you are.
Mate, it's a fucking really good looking game, and you can't go wrong. Like that Wipeout, it works.
It does. Psygnosis.
It had 3 of them in.
Yeah, 3 different games and 3 different slightly different art styles and weapons and modes. It's a great package, and they chuck it out quite a lot with the when you buy like a PS4 Pro. It's always one of the games that you'll get on there, and because it's quite cheap and it's a remaster, but also because it despite being an old remaster, it shows off the console better than almost anything else. So
that's true.
Yep, deserves its place. On to my top 3, buddy. And number 3 is PES. Normally I don't think that I have PES quite as high on my lists, but this year I really feel like they've made great strides, as well as fucking things up, of course, because they always do.
Standard.
But firstly, the gameplay on this version of the game is, in a year where I played this beta for it, and then another one, and mocked them for doing a beta because they'd never given a fuck before, so why do they now? But I played it and I didn't think that the gameplay was that far advanced from the last one, and then the more and more and more I played it, the more I realized how wrong I was. And this is out of this world. Some of the play that you can actually achieve on this game is absolutely insane, completely unrivaled. I wouldn't have even been able to dream of the way you can control the football on this game. Like, a few years ago, it just seemed impossible that they'd ever get there. But the way that this has been hit home so hard is with the fact that they've chucked this brilliant co-op mode in there, which again is massively flawed, has its problems, namely the crossplay between my club and co-op, so you constantly end up playing teams that you shouldn't and being punished because these people have had the chance to, build dream teams or whatever. That's a huge issue, but the mode itself stands. Funk and I mean, obviously I've played a fair few games with you, fair few games with PJ, but Funk and I have played over 220 co-op games online.
Wow, that's a lot of hours.
That's a lot. It's a lot of hours. I think we worked it out as somewhere around the 45-hour mark, and you also have to bear in mind that's one mode of this game. I've also played about 25 hours of this on my own, on Master League mode. So, the co-op elements, the way that you can work together with a friend, and the way that it rates you, tells you exactly what you did, what percentages you got. Statistician's dream, sorry. It's getting late in the evening, buddy. The Brewdog's kicking in. It's just fantastic. But it is a football game, and it's a little saddening that an annual franchise football game has made it into my top 5 this year. Possibly a bit of a comment on the quality of release.
Maybe.
Moving on, Project Cars 2 is my number 2, buddy. And we've said everything that I could possibly hope to say about that, so I won't say anything else about it. Other than, I really didn't expect at the start of the year that game to almost nab top spot for me in 2017. A game that I obviously wanted to get because I love racing games, but I wasn't more excited or less excited about it than F1 or GT, or anything else. But yeah, as you said, I think it is the best racing game I've ever played. You chuck the wheel in as well, and you can't really beat it. It's just the best. Which leaves my number 1, which of course is Horizon Zero Dawn. And I can't say too much more than you have about it. You've pretty much covered all the bases. This is one of my favourite games of all time. It creates such a mood. I enjoyed it so much. I felt completely enthralled and involved in Aloy's world. I don't remember ever being that engaged in an open world game, because I hadn't played that much of The Witcher at this point, but also because it somehow manages to it does, story-wise, it's as strong as something like The Last of Us, but that game is linear and benefits from being completely directed, like a completely linear edited experience, whereas this, it doesn't have that luxury. You could go anywhere, you could do anything, you can do things in different orders, but it just nailed every single box for me, Horizon Zero Dawn, coupled with the fact that it came out of left field from a developer that most people kind of mocked for incredible technology, but certainly nothing else in the way of storytelling. It was a real gigantic surprise, and nothing. I kept waiting all year for something to come out and nobble this thing, man, and it just did not happen.
It just didn't happen. I still remember that first encounter with the largest, or the first large dinosaur robot that you come across, and I was just like, fucking hell, what is this? Just being amazed, because like you start off and you've got just like horse-sized dinosaurs that you're beating up. You're like, this is cool, and then suddenly it's just like boom. You're like, what the? How am I gonna take that fucking thing down? Just and then it just gets bigger and bigger. It's crazy, some of the enemies in that.
Yeah, it's something.
It's all doable.
But it does combat brilliantly, it does stealth brilliantly, it does storytelling brilliantly, it looks the best thing I've ever fucking seen in my life, the sound design's brilliant, the map's expansive but not too much, like, it's curated just enough but also open just enough, and it just leaves you to it. Man.
And the towers that you have to climb are big fucking dinosaur robots.
That are walking about. Yeah.
That are walking about. That's cool.
Man.
And you can hack the robots with your magic staff.
It's got it all.
It's got it all.
It's got it all. It's
well done.
It's the best game on the system. If you're going out and buying a PS4, it's the game you have to own. And if something comes out next year that is better than Horizon Zero Dawn, then fuck me, we got a good year on our hands.
We got a good year coming up. I got a good feeling about 2018, mate.
I do. Yeah. I really do. There's a lot to look forward to, and
new DLC for Destiny 2.
There it is. Absolutely. Yep, that's the one.
Obviously, yeah.
Some new console from Atari.
There's 2019.
Yep,
can't wait.
I'll be there.
F1 2018. Can't
wait to give them my annual subscription to sports and football F1 games and racing games. Yeah.
I mean, do you think we should take a year off 1 year and just be like, nah, fuck off?
What, just not buy any games?
No, of like some of these yearly franchise games that we seem to buy every year and year. I think there's a time where we're just like, you know what, we just missed this year. Fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we probably should have done that for the last 3 or 4, but that's not going to happen, is it? So
no, it's not going to. It's nice having these ideas, but it's not going to happen, like you say.
Yeah, no, far too sensible, ridiculous.
No. So all that's left, really, buddy, is we've got a little rundown, a little point system that I like to make up. Obviously, if we put it in 10th place, it gets 1 point. If we put it in first place, it gets 10 points. So our high-scoring game this year, our JfG podcast game of the year, is Horizon Zero Dawn with a massive full-on 20 points.
It's a perfect top-scoring game. Number one from both of us.
Top dog, number one. Secondly is Project Cars 2 with 17 points.
Wouldn't have expected that.
I didn't see that coming
Very cool.
At all, but
I mean, that's high, man. Like,
yeah, man.
That's pretty high.
17 points. You know, that's a big score. Now, we've got third to 6th place. There we go, and that's 4 of them. All on 11 points here. So that's quite a big drop off in figures. So in third to 6th, we have Destiny 2 with 11. We have Ghost Recon Wildlands with 11. We have Uncharted Lost Legacies with 11, and also PES 2018 with 11. I don't know what that says about this year. Mediocre at best, I guess.
It's a weird one, isn't it?
It is. And we made these like lists completely separate.
Yeah.
Like we didn't like go like, oh yeah, if we get them all the same, then we can say yeah, it's been a shitty year. It's just how it's happened. It's crazy.
Obviously, Destiny is the most unfortunate title from our lists because I've rated it so much lower.
Obviously, yeah,
it's the one that's lost out the most, despite being in a top 5 because of my opinions on that game. But a joint third between 4 different games, and all of those games being like 6-7 points less than our top 2.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then after that, it pretty much drops down into like our own individual choices. We've got a Wipeout with 7 points, Persona with 7 points, Orcs Must Die. We both had that, but that only got 5 points because it was so low down. MLB, The Show 2018?
17 it was, yeah.
17, close enough, yeah. 4 points, GT Sport with 3 points. Then we've got the Sexy Brutal with 2, and the Turing Test with 1, buddy. So yeah, I mean, we can clearly see which ones were our favourites, but then there was just that middle ground where it was just like, these games are good. These games are really good, but you know, there's nothing really setting them apart from each other, I guess.
Yeah, the drop off really, like between games that I loved versus you, kind of thing. I don't think has ever been as wide.
No, definitely not.
But the thing that you can basically say about both of our lists are, I think, they're relatively uninspiring for an end of year list. Everything that's coming out like across a year, and we're not prudish like in terms of like buying AAA titles or annual franchises all the time. Like if there were 5 new IPs out this year, we would have bought them. Like, we would have bought them. Like, we're always game for, like, new, exciting innovation, new IPs, and so on and so forth. But it was slim pickings, and it's...
There's a few games, like Nier Automata and things like that. I mean, I wish we could have played, but it's just that feeling that I'm not sure that I'm going to enjoy this game, so I just can't justify spending that money, you know, just so I can talk about it on the podcast, because obviously... You know, we've said it countless times. We have to buy these.
Yeah,
you know,
we're not
our money.
Games publication, so we can't just keep taking punts all the time. We'd get shouted at for doing so by our wags.
I'll be super broke.
Yeah. All in all, I think one thing that you can say that we've got going for us is it's at least a diverse list when it comes to genre and style. We got a good old collection of different genres and styles there. You know, we haven't got 5 shooters or 4 RPGs or anything like that. So yeah, that suggests that we're diverse enough, and perhaps the industry isn't.
Possibly, buddy. Possibly.
Could be the problem.
Yeah.
Well, either way, there you go. Those are our lists, and we'd very much like to hear from you guys as well about what your thoughts are as we sort of head into the new year, dissecting the old, and then look forward. But yeah, I think it only remains for me to say thanks very much, buddy, for joining me for this particular special show.
It's been a long one. I don't think I ever want to do 2 podcasts in one night, mate.
No, it's true. Again. It's true.
I am fucked.
I do hope that this has been a little bit more concise and more engaging than we've had in the past. I think we're slowly getting the hang of not just running our mouths for fucking hours anymore. I think we're getting there in that respect. But hopefully you've enjoyed that. Hopefully you I think this is going out between Christmas and New Year, so hope you enjoyed your Christmas, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful New Year, for the sake of Auld Lang Syne, buddy. Yeah,
indeed.
There you go. You can find us at all the usual places. That includes www.thejfgpodcast.co.uk, Facebook / the JFG Podcast. Our Twitter handle is at the JFG Podcast. You can also find us on the video streaming sites YouTube, Twitch, and Mixer. Come and join our PS4 community. Come and play some games with us. We are the JFG Podcast on your PS4. You can find us on the app or on the console. We're on SoundCloud / Just for Gamers, several other places. You can pick us up on your podcast apps, and we are also on Google Plus if that is how you choose to live your life. Thanks so much for listening, buddies. We will catch you in the new year. Get on Street Beat on the old website there and let us know how you're feeling about things, and so on and so forth. Get on the show. Hit us up and get on the show, that sort of thing.
We want to know.
We want to know. Until then, buddies, thanks so much for being with us through 2017. We will catch you in 2018. Until then, I have been Alex. He has been Ash.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. You've been listening to the JFG Podcast with Ash and me, Alex. To find out more, head to www.justforgamers.co.uk, Facebook / the JFG Podcast, or Twitter, where we are at the JFG Podcast. Episodes go live every Sunday, and if you could pop onto iTunes and write us a quick review, we would love every inch of you, even if you got old and fat. Thanks so much for listening, and we will catch you next time.